All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Tennis Channel Inside In, streaming on all your podcast platforms. Mitch Michals from the Santa Monica studios, well into the U.S. Open, down to the final four for each in this 2024 edition. Joining me now from the beautiful New York City area with a nice little view of the water there. If you're watching this episode from Tennis Now, lead journalist and writer, reporter on site. It's the fan child on Twitter, Chris Oddo. Chris, welcome back to the program. I know the grind doesn't stop. But we've reached the thrilling conclusion of this U.S. Open. Thanks for joining the show.
Mitch, good to be here, man. Thanks for noticing my beautiful background. I'm proud of this view.
It's been fun. It's been interesting this time, and I know you were working nonstop to provide tremendous coverage. I wanted to start with a line I was thinking about as an old school professional wrestling fan. The line is from the late great Roddy Piper. It's whenever you think you have the answers, I change the questions. That's what this U.S. Open feels like. Every upset seems to take us on a new adventure. We're starting to get some semblance at the finish line, but the shock and awe just doesn't seem to stop. And we saw it last night in the quarterfinal matches.
It's beautiful, right? I mean, great line, by the way. Yeah, a lot of upsets. I think we really, week one taught us that this is chaos is reigning supreme in Flushing Meadows with Djokovic out before the second week for the first time since 2006. Alcaraz out. That was a big surprise. I think, we expected Djokovic to be a little tired after winning the Olympics. That was normal. But Carlitos was a big one. And last night, I think we saw like a variety, right? Jannik Sinner held serve. He's the man to beat in the men's draw. And I think he might keep a little bit of normalcy at the end of this fortnight. But Jessica Pegula, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not Iga on clay, but it is Iga, the 2022 champion. And Jessica just handled her business so well for a beautiful moment for her to break through and finally get that Grand Slam semifinal after 6 failures in the quarterfinals, including one against Iga 2 years ago here, which led to Iga's lone title in Queens. So, yeah, that was a big surprise. Not the most massive surprise like Carlitos going out, but again, I don't think a lot of people thought that Jessica could get over the hump, but she finally did. And another great American moment here in Flushing Meadows.
Yeah, you read my mind. I wanted to start with JPEG and what Pegula did. Also just pointing out, which we'll get to, 4 American semifinalists, 2 on each side. It's just remarkable, the breakthrough, which we'll get to. But starting with Pegula, try number 7 is the lucky charm. She gets to her first major semi. She beats Iga. She really dismantles her in two sets, and a lot of ways to examine this, acknowledge this. It felt like it was building, though, Chris. It felt like a moment going into the summer hard court. She was back. She was healthy. She played a lot of excellent tennis. When the moment came, when it came time to get the job done and beat someone who's a multi-time major champion, someone that's done this before, who's had her number before in this spot, she rose to the occasion very well, and she was able to serve, play percentage tennis, and also just handle her business out there. It was very efficient. And I think that's the part that's impressive, Chris, when you failed so many times, how you handle these moments and how you get back up and try to go again for more. She said that as much in the post-match interview. What Jessie Pegula did in getting this far was very, very, very well prepared, very well done by the American.
Yeah, you said it well. A lot of confidence in her game. No doubt she was going to win this match. Even at 3-3, it had a pretty strong vibe that she was going to handle her business. Things I noticed from being on Ashe up close, she's moving incredibly well. She did talk about that in the press. I was thinking, man, she is fast. And then the thing I've always noticed about her game, and it was still there last night and gave Iga tons of problems. The ball just screams off her racket. Very flat, very hard hit balls, great returns, a lot of depth. I'm thinking this is a player that could actually go on to win this title. And to say that tonight or today is amazing because the way she started this season, parting ways with David Witt, which is a really interesting storyline at this tournament now that David Witt is back with Frances Tiafoe, having struggles, not getting past round 2 of her first 2 majors, thinking maybe Jessica Pegula has reached the end of the line. Maybe it's over for her. Gets her new coaches, gets recommitted. Now 14 out of 15 matches this summer, and her biggest moment of her career. So it's really beautiful because she's one of the players I think that the media has really locked into and really enjoyed. She's had a great rapport with the press. She's always spoke her mind. She's a fun person. She's well liked, and so it's just a special moment.
Very special moment. She brought the marks in. My guy Mark Knowles, as well as Mark Markline, who who's done a great job with her, and tactically she's made some adjustments. Feeling well, and as you said, this is like a real moment now. She wants to not just get to the semis, but job's not finished. 2 more matches to go. Tough one coming up for her, which we'll get to. On the Iga side, Chris, it just never felt like she was settled in that match. And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that goes into being a tennis player on and off the court. It just never felt like she got her footing on the court. This match especially, you saw her get flustered more than normal. It's time for her to probably hit the reset button. She's still the #1 player in the world who's had a great season, but didn't get the job done, didn't really settle into last night's match.
Yeah, it does seem like a theme, Mitch, that away from Roland Garros, I don't know how much we can expect from her at this point unless something changes. 12 winners, 41 unforced. Didn't get the serving she wanted. That's been a theme for her this year. Improved serve. We didn't see it last night. Pegula was all over it. She didn't seem happy early. She never found her footing. There have been a lot of comebacks in Iga's career, but it just didn't feel like she had it in her mentally and spiritually. Even last night, the match was just kind of felt like it was over early on when she was down 4-0 in the first. A little bit of a fight back in the second. Not the worst effort. Quarterfinal, not horrible, but again, Iga away from Roland Garros right now is a thing to watch. I don't know how much she's going to be able to do on those other slams and those other surfaces.
Mm-hmm. It's like great player, all-time great player on clay at Roland Garros. Good to great player. I'd put her in that great category in hard court, but there's a noticeable drop off and no guarantee there for sure. The other semifinalist that Pegula will be facing, we'll get to a little preview at the end there, is Karolina Muchova, back to the U.S. Open semis, Chris, and does it without dropping a set. What a remarkable run by somebody who has such an eclectic game. The way she plays is so exciting. She just dusts off Beatrice Head Maya, who had a nice run at the quarters. But for Karolina Muchova, drawing Osaka early, getting through that challenge, and just beating everybody along the way in straight sets. It's a real comeback or get-back story, as you would say, for Muchova to get back to a Final Four of a major.
Yeah, dismantled Paolini as well. But you're right about the Osaka. Osaka was kind of ramping up and starting to show some form. Very dangerous as a 2-time champion. She's awesome, right? What a beautiful game. Nobody plays it like her. You look at the stats of the women in the tournament and the women remaining. Nobody serves in volleys except for Karolina Muchova, who I think is 28 out of 35 on serve and volley. She does it all. She has all the shots, and it's remarkable too. Wrist surgery. She was out for 9 months after last year's U.S. Open, which she was a semifinalist. And to see her get back to form, you never know with those kind of things. Look at Dominic Thiem, who we said goodbye to at this U.S. Open. It's not a lock that she's going to get back to health and play her tennis, but she looks like 100% potential champion at this tournament. Could have her best moment yet, and it's going to be a great semifinal with Jessica Pegula.
Battled through like a sickness or an illness too, just fought through that. Yeah, it was a serious injury that was career threatening for sure, but she accepted the challenge. You just see her out there frustrating her opponents, and it's a fun way to see a great semifinal there. On the other side of the women's draw, Chris, Aryna Sabalenka and I'll use the word bulldoze. I hate to say that as much in tennis. I rarely use it, but she just swatted away the reigning gold medal champion like a fly, like one of those dinner gnats that's just getting on your barbecue food. Impressive. And it's impressive whenever Aryna Sabalenka is rolling, because when she's playing her best on these hard courts, on any hard court, she is the best in the world. Her ceiling is sky high, and that was a masterclass in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and she's so determined, right? I mean, there are slams where she has heartbreak and things go wrong in her career, but she's always back on the horse, always battling. And my pre-tournament pick, along with Alcaraz, I'll say, so I'm 1 for 2 at this point. And I think, if she can continue to play her best tennis in the biggest moments, which has been an issue in the past, I think that this is her tournament to win. Yeah, and she's just incredible. It's just the fortitude and really the electricity in her game, like you say, the power principle of her tennis. It's unreal. There's nobody really that has what she has in the game today.
Yeah, Chinwen just didn't have any answers at all out there. Obviously not her best match. But one other note on Chris, one question I wanted to ask you, Chris, on Sabalenka. What's really changed? What have you noticed that's changed from her just a couple years ago when she'd get to this moment? Maybe the game wasn't there. Maybe the consistency wasn't there. It was a mental side. What's the biggest step up she's made, Sabalenka, in being so so good in these moments now?
It's hard. I don't know if she's much of a different player. I think she just is able to get out of her head a little more and execute, maybe hit to bigger targets. I think that helps her cut down on mistakes. I mean, she doesn't need to be perfect to be dominant. She just needs to, play to big targets and relax and just make her shots. And I think experience has helped her a lot. And of course, she's been through issues with the serve, worked through those. So I think she's got a lot more faith in her game and is able to play a little bit more relaxed. And that's it. I think she's had this game and hasn't really changed it tons, but she keeps adding layers. She's better at the net. She's better under pressure. All these little things add up to a player who can really dominate when she's at her peak.
I see a demeanor change too from that first Australian Open title. Like, she knows she can do it. That puts her at ease. She's understanding there's going to be losses. No one wins everything. But even last year, losing the U.S. Open final, she's back. This isn't a house of horrors. She just knows when I'm on, I'm better than everyone. And it's special to watch. She'll get Emma Navarro, though, in the other semifinal. Maybe not everyone's pick in the bracket, but nobody has had a faster rise this year than Emma Navarro, where she was outside the top 100 a year ago. She beats Coco Gauff in back-to-back majors, beats her Wimbledon, beats her in the U.S. Open, and then fights in that second set to win a straight set match over Paula Badosa, who's back playing in form. I'm so impressed with a lot of what Navarro does, her chillness, her calmness under pressure. But what she said after the match really did stick with me. 5-1 down second set when most players are just saying, let's just get to a third set, reset from there. She's like, no, if I win this 5-1 game, there's an opening. Not only was there an opening, but she just stormed through and took the match in straight sets.
Yeah, Emma's been a great story. Her coach came in to press, very interesting guy, Peter Ayers, and talked about perfection and Emma's quest for perfection. And he said that we just want to have a perfect bounce back. So whenever there's trouble, in other words, we just want to be able to bounce back perfectly and positively. And that's what we saw, really, especially in the Gauff match, which I was out for on Ashe. She looked to be in real trouble. She kind of threw away that second set, and suddenly Coco was playing so much better. Coco was struggling to hit her forehand for a set and a half, and then she became dialed in. The crowd was behind her, and Emma just reset and handled that third set, which was very close for about half of the way, really well. And then that was her first match on Ashe, by the way. I guess what strikes me about Navarro's game is it's really well-rounded. Her forehand is beautiful. Her backhand just as good. There's no weakness. She doesn't have a lot of experience at this point in her career, but it doesn't seem to matter. She's mentally tough. And then the thing that really sticks out is her movement and her consistency. She makes you beat her. She is so quick. I mean, I don't know if anybody on tour right now is as quick and as fit as she is. So, and she's got the huge Indian Wells win over Sabalenka, which was meaningful and which I saw this year. And it showed that she can hang with Aryna. So this is not a throwaway match. This is not a guarantee for Sabalenka.
No, she took some pace off of her shots when she was struggling, and that really stood out to me as this is an adjustment. Okay, we're going to dial it back. We're going to play smarter. How much she learned from, beating Coco at Wimbledon and then going out the next match, having that letdown spot and losing to Paolini. This time she's able to right the ship and keep it going. So impressive all the way around. An exciting Final Four on the women's side. More here with Chris Oddo, the fan child, on Twitter. He writes for Tennis Now. We're recapping and previewing what's still in store at the 2024 U.S. Open into the Final Four round. On the men's side, we are down to 4. Last night's marquee match, an incredible match between major champions, Daniil Medvedev and Jannik Sinner. Sinner wins in 4 sets. Very disjointed, very up and down. There wasn't really a feel early on. Both players traded some sets in there and couldn't really get a feel on what was happening. Mm-hmm. Set 4 was high level. These two players play classics. Ultimately, Sinner got through, got the job done, and proved why he is right now, Chris, the tennis alpha dog, how he's handling the moment, how he's handling the outside noise, and a tricky challenge from Daniil Medvedev, who got him in the last major. It's Sinner who makes the adjustments and moves on.
Yeah, Jannik's looking good. He's back. People thought he might be a victim of the upset bug in week 1, especially carrying in the controversy with the 2 positive doping tests, the revelations of what went on with him over the last 5-6 months. Handled it really well from the start. I was at that first press conference and I felt like this might be behind him. And the key takeaway for me in that press conference was I really felt he was innocent. I really felt he wasn't at fault. You can argue about whether he got preferential treatment. That's fair, and it might be true, might be not true, but I felt like he was innocent when I saw that, and I think a lot of people did. and I think is just fading right now into the background. And he's playing his tennis, and he's in a draw that's wide open without his biggest rivals, and he's a heavy favorite. He looked good last night against Medvedev. Daniil played him really tough in the second. It was a lot closer of a 6-1 set than you would think. A couple long games where he was broken, but he bounced right back. He was dominant when he had to be, served well, took care of his business, and is just. I have a Frances Tiafoe feeling, I will say, Mitch, in this tournament, but I can't really see how it's going to come to fruition, even though Frances has been my pick for over a week. But Jannik looks tough. He looks steady, looks ready to continue his dominance on hard courts, 32-2, I think, on the surface this season.
That's just the mind-boggling stat right there, that last number. But yeah, for a lot of different reasons. One being the best of 5 format is going to favor the ultimately better, more consistent player. And no one's been more consistent, especially with that number you just said, than Sinner. He's gotten the fitness up. That was a question before. Will he fade in these late physical matchups? I know the conditions haven't been as brutal, but there's no answer there. I thought Medvedev, and mad scientist, whatever you want to call him, how crafty he is, he's going to adjust. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at you. He'll muddy the waters. He'll do what it takes to swing the momentum in the match, and he did. But it was Sinner's ability to regather, take a breath, figure out where he can pick him apart that made the difference, because Medvedev understood the challenge, and he's such a charming, likable guy. He knows he's got a tough task playing Sinner, even beating him last time. We always talk, Chris, about styles making fights and how there's going to be adjustments. I thought both players were trying to make adjustments, but it was ultimately Sinner that was able to pick him apart with that easy power that still I just marvel at how hard he hits the ball when it doesn't even look like he's trying to hit it that hard.
Yeah, I think he pushed Daniil to his limits. A lot of errors. Daniil's backhand wasn't where he wanted it to be, but I think a lot of that is credit to Sinner's game in that match. And I think Sinner's held sway over that rivalry since Daniil took I think he won the first 5 or 6 in that matchup, but it's been a lot of Sinner since then.
Been a lot of Sinner since then. He will get Jack Draper in his first major semifinal, taking advantage of the opportunities in front of him. But Draper, the big breakthrough, he won Queen's Club, didn't go as well after that, but continues to impress. The serve and volley was rolling, the lefty serve getting to the net, playing in his baggy shirt for sure was helpful too. But Draper beats de Minaur, had lost him a few times before, I think 0-3 in the career. He gets the first win there. And British tennis has their man going forward. Andy Murray out, but Jack Draper stepping up and stepping in.
Yeah, huge tournament for Jack. Hasn't dropped a set. And first British man to get to the semi since Andy Murray won the title in 2012. He was took advantage, I think, of a de Minaur who wasn't at 100% yesterday. And credit Demon in press, he just really refused to say that he was hurting or how he was hurting. Gave all the credit to Jack, which is deserved because he's been an absolute menace. He's got a really heavy game, and it's tough to deal with for everybody. Not only does he's hit a brutal ball, but he's a left-hander. He just has that type. He has the leftiness that some lefties wish they had, right? So he's playing great tennis. It's a huge challenge, probably one step too far for him. But the thing that I noticed about Jack is that he's got his body underneath him and feeling really good. And he says he feels more comfortable than ever, more confident than ever, because he's not worrying about how his body's going to hold up in these 5-set matches. And that's probably made all the difference in the world for him.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Like, we knew that his body wasn't cooperating, and it was by no, lack of effort. He was putting the time in. It just wasn't happening. He's found the right rhythm. He's found the right groove. He's able to go the distance. And yeah, I mean, for de Minaur, you just hope, Chris, that there wasn't any setbacks. I know he's not going to discuss it, but he looked good beforehand. Hopefully there were no setbacks. For Draper, he's going to play a stiffer competition, stiffer level. But you think going forward that the potential is there for Jack Draper to have a lengthy career. This won't seem like a fluke is what I'm saying going forward. Like, when we look at this in the rear view in 4 or 5 years, him making a semi probably wasn't going to be a one-off thing.
No, I think he's a top 10 player in the making. He's going to jump into the top 20. Interesting little storyline is he's got a little bit of a friendship with Jannik Sinner, and they keep in touch. They play doubles together in Montreal. And I think, I think Jack probably looks up to Sinner, obviously looks up to Sinner, and he might get a little bit of a lesson from him in this match, but one that'll be very valuable, I'm sure. That's my prediction.
It certainly will be. It certainly will be. Well, the other semifinal is all Americans because both guys handle business. There we go. First off, the day match 2 days ago as we record this, Taylor Fritz beats Alexander Zverev again in a major, gets through him to get to the semifinals. Fritz was another one. breaking through, was 0-4 in the quarterfinal round, beats Zverev in 4 sets. Tremendous stuff. You watch that match, Chris, and on the Fritz side, you see just how well-rounded he is, how he's ironed out every quote-unquote weakness in his game. But I was equally or maybe more impressed with the fact that, talk about hitting a reset button, he kind of gave away a couple opportunities to win sets. The first set, he gives away a chance, wins it in a tiebreak, kind of blows the second set. But there he is, just back on the horse, not letting it get to him, handling the mini ups and downs, the momentum swings that happen in tennis. Fritz had his game and his emotions in check, and suddenly he's into his first major semifinal.
Yeah, Taylor's impressive, right? He's just been a grinder. And his serve plus 1 game, he knows how good it is. He knows he can impose himself on any player in tennis. It's just taking time to get to this level to win that type of a match against Sasha Zverev. And I didn't really see him getting through that one. I thought it was going to be something where he came up a little bit short, but it's just a testament to his toughness, his mental toughness, his ability to keep pushing through, the work he's done with Michael Russell to improve the little minutiae in his game, to become a better mover step by step. He needed that, right? He's always had the power. He's always had the incredible ability to clean up short balls, and he's a great server, but he just needed a little bit of defense to help him just in 1 or 2 points, 1 or 2 spots. And the biggest thing I like about him is that he never gives up on himself. He's always out there giving himself a shot, and to win against Zverev twice in a row in slams is just a great achievement. And I think a lot of people think that he's got what it takes to beat Frances. He's got 6 in a row against him. I don't know how much that will hold sway on Arthur Ashe in this meeting. It's going to be a pretty crazy scene, but he's definitely got a shot to make a Grand Slam final, and that is awesome because we've been waiting for this with these American guys for a long time, talking them up and been impressed by what they've been able to do. But it was hard to envision this step that they've taken at this U.S. Open. It's just an incredible vibe, incredible thing for them, and well-deserved.
Also want to mention Fritz, known as one of the hardest workers that there is in all of tennis. Just an exceptionally motivated young man. But the note that came out that his girlfriend shared that he wrote when he was 40 years old, or when he was number 40 in the world, rather, after losing early at Wimbledon, he's hard on himself. And I've heard that firsthand as well from some people close to him. But he writes a note. You can look up you can look up the specific wording online. We're going to paraphrase it here for the lack of that. I do think this is a family show, but he basically said, no one's underachieving more than you right now after losing early. You have all the talent in the world, but you're not getting it done. So he demands a lot of himself, Chris, and he gets a lot out of it as a result. He pushes further because he's not settling on top 20, top 15, major quarterfinal. He has bigger and better goals in front of him, and that is propelling him to much success.
Yeah, he wants it so bad. This is a guy that won Indian Wells with a seriously messed up ankle. This guy's got a lot of courage and a lot of heart. Impressive player.
Well, Frances Tiafoe is waiting for him. And I should say, props to and unfortunate with the Grigor Dimitrov match. That was a classic match. 2-1. I do think Tiafoe was going to win that third set, but clearly not, finished by any means. Grigor's battled so much, still playing elite tennis at 33. So just a quick note on Grigor. Hope he's okay. Brutal to see a match end like that, which nobody wanted it to end like that.
No, it was tough. It was a pretty back and forth match. I felt like Frances had the edge. Frances certainly had the crowd, but Grigor's played so well, and I think he of course, like all the guys in that half of the draw, relished the opportunity to break through, make a semi, potentially make a slam final, and he played really great here. And it just went south on his body, and it was sad to see that he couldn't even really lift off his serve. He could barely move once he came out from getting his injury taped after the third. So rough break for Grigor for sure, and let's hope he can get back to form. I told him earlier in the week he's a young 33. He really liked that. He looked a little bit like an older 33, unfortunately, in the quarterfinals.
On the Tiafoe front, he's back to the semifinals. Chris, it's 3 straight outstanding years at the U.S. Open, but on the Tiafoe front, a couple of things stand out to me, and I was hoping you could expand on it. One is that when he's in a serving rhythm, like pound for pound, because he doesn't have the height that a lot of these guys have, it's really special to watch how much he gets out of his serve and when he's serving well, which hasn't always been the case, but when it ramps up, it's special. But he really has gotten a lot better at hitting that reset button of dealing with the ups and downs in tennis. There used to be times in Tiafoe matches where the level would dip for a little too long. And at this level, with the margins so thin, that can make the difference. He's really done a great job of cutting that out. And I think that is as clear as day one of the reasons why he's elevated his level. Because the game and the flashiness has always been there with all the skills that he has.
Yeah.
But he has really upped his floor and upped his consistency.
Yeah, I think having David Witt come on after Wimbledon was huge for him, stressing the consistency. And they look at this summer as a build, week after week, play every match hard, play every tournament well, build on it, stay consistent. Made some changes to the return, made some changes philosophically. I think Frances is being a little bit more aggressive, and he's returning better. It was amazing to see that. Ben Shelton said that nobody ever returned his serve like that. So Frances has freakish athleticism, right? And freakish hands. And you're right about the serve. He can be a dominant server. He wasn't against Dimitrov. I think it was 50% first serve, and he struggled, and that's why he ended up losing a set. But yeah, all these things are true about Frances. I think he's maturing every single year. And when he gets to New York, it's always peak Frances. And this year, it's a more mature, more nuanced peak Frances. So it's even more lethal. And that's why I see him winning in tournament. Of course, with Jannik Sinner still in there, it's hard to envision the pathway, but there's some kind of magic with Frances Tiafoe. And when he looked ahead of the rivalry in the match with Fritz, those guys are great friends, and they said, Frances, you've lost 6 in a row, and he said, it's different on Ashe, and he's right about that, and that's why I expect him to get through that match. But it's going to be so exciting.
It really is. Just one note on Fritz or on Tiafoe before we get to the final predictions and wrap this up. He found something in that Alcaraz match at Wimbledon. You can gain a lot from a loss, and he found something there. He got back on track. He realized against the best, I can be right there. And I think it's pretty cool what David Witt's done in encouraging and reinforcing positivity throughout that match. Just stay positive, stay up, and you've seen the results there. Well, let's get to it. Let's get to the final thoughts, preview, predictions if we want. Starting with the men's side. Sinner and Draper, I just want to mention too, I'm in agreement with you that I think it's a tough spot for Draper to win this match. If he can, take some positives out of this, maybe make things interesting, it's going to be on the back of that lefty serve and getting to the net. I don't know that I think that's the best way to necessarily go 5 sets with Sinner. I think you got to mix it up. But Draper has athleticism, and I think he could, if he's serving well, have a chance to, make things interesting, maybe take a set, but going to be hard-pressed to beat the reigning #1 player.
Yeah, all those things you said are true. I think Draper gives it a really good shot and plays some great tennis. But I think, as we've seen so many times before, it's really hard to play your first Grand Slam semifinal, let alone against a world #1 who's just won a slam this year and is dominating the hard courts. So I think it's Jannik's match to win.
Is that his first night match on? I would assume it'd be the night match on Ashe, given the. Wow, that's another tough step to step into.
Yeah, it'll be a big one. I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be on Friday, but either way, it's going to be massive. There'll be some nerves.
There will be. Fritz Tiafoe, other one, exceptional. Now, I think I might differ with you on this one because I do give Fritz the edge in a lot of areas, and I think this is going to be a classic match. I think that the crowd, Tiafoe is hard to beat as a fan favorite, but the crowd's never going to turn on an American. They're going to support these guys. It's going to be a cool environment because there's going to be American tennis at the forefront, honored, so to speak. I think Fritz's ability or inability to handle the moment might determine this one because I trust his game as much as anyone not named Jannik Sinner left in this draw.
Yeah.
The fact being, though, Frances is comfortable here. He knows what it's like. You said it yourself. It's different on Ashe. So how are the nerves handled? How's the start of this match go? This might be one of the weird ones where I deviate too, Chris, where the first set in a best of 5 means a lot. How can Fritz settle into this match might tell a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to say how it's going to go. These guys have been playing since they've been 12 years old, right? But we know that Fritz has an edge for whatever reason. He's won 6 in a row. I really don't know exactly what it is. He's just been the better player against Frances, so he has something figured out. And if he can use that, that's going to give him a great chance. Honestly, my prediction, I'm going with Foe, and I'm just going with it because I just feel the magic, and I feel like it's destiny. And if it's not this year, it'll probably be another year for Frances to make the final.
This is his house for sure, and the fact that he's, still an underdog, but the underdogs have been hitting at this tournament. I'm not counting out. I'm expecting a classic match there. Just Fritz's game has been special. On the women's side, that Sabalenka Navarro match, they played twice in their career, 1-1. On clay it was Sabalenka, but on their only hardcourt match, Indian Wells, Emma won that match. Now, she's not going to surprise Sabalenka, my question to you, Chris, is what can Emma do to keep that match interesting and maybe make a run at it?
Yeah, hang in there, make balls, play aggressive when she has her chances. She's definitely proven that she can hang with Sabalenka. I don't see why she can't make this a close match. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on Aryna as the favorite. I think if Sabalenka comes through, but I think it's a good match. I think she has to work for it, probably get by in 3.
Got the American crowd too. Remember, that's both these women's matches have one American playing a non-American, so partisan crowd for sure. The other one being Pegula and Muchova, which exciting. I love these styles. Styles make fights, as you know, and this matchup should be fun and exciting. As Muchova said, they played on the parking lot in Cincinnati, their only match a little bit ago, which went 3 sets that Pegula won. But how do you see this one going tactically and ultimately who prevailing?
Yeah, the kind of a study in contrast, right? They're totally different players. They know each other a little bit. It's kind of hard to predict what'll happen when Muchova plays, and when she dictates, she kind of controls things, and her athleticism takes over. That would be a tough situation for Jess, I think. Jess is just going to try to make shots, try to serve well, return well, and kind of be in control of the ball and get Muchova into an uncomfortable position. I think she can do it, and I think she will do it and win that match.
It's a very big opportunity, but this is a great matchup. Maybe, I mean, we could look back, Chris, at the final 4 matchups, and it wouldn't shock us if Pegula Muchova has the most magic and most excitement. That's how highly I think of this one. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Chris Oddo, thanks for making time. I know how busy things are at the U.S. Open. Appreciate you stepping out. The nice skyline there. Talking some tennis, talking some U.S. Open. And just one final note, 29 days till hockey season starts. So I thought I should let you know that.
I haven't even thought about it. I think football might be tonight, but who cares right at this point?
We got tennis, we got football, we've got a lot going on. But enjoy the U.S. Open. Thanks for coming on Tennis Channel Inside In.
Thank you, Mitch. Love the podcast, man. It's a pleasure to be on.